Ladies and gentlemen, Joy Behar and The View decided to bring John Fetterman on to their show to talk about the Hunter Biden pardon. Fetterman then compares it to the Trump pardon and says that the Trump charges in New York were totally politically motivated. Obviously, the View is not going to like that. People, at least Republicans, have had kind of a little bit of a better opinion on Fetterman because he just calls out obvious stuff. But honestly, Fetterman, there's a few things he says that are wrong here, talking about the political motivation of the Hunter Biden trial. That's really not it at all. That was a Biden DOJ thing. But Fetterman does correctly say that, yeah, the Trump stuff, it was politically motivated. The Democrats are obsessed with him. Alvin Bragg admitted, he said, we're going to hold people accountable. Everyone knew he was referring to Trump when he was running for election. It's totally ridiculous. And here's Fetterman, a Democrat, admitting it.
It is his son, after all. And people do have sympathy for that, but a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases, and we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against.
Right, but Fetterman has to understand this was a sweeping pardon for Biden. It was not just the gun stuff and the tax fraud, although it was $1.4 million in tax fraud. I don't know, that's going to come with a penalty. He pled guilty to that. But it was also, they gave Hunter a sweeping Biden since 2014, from 2014 to 2024. Now, why would they do that? Why would they expand it that far? It was obviously other business dealings from prior years. It wasn't just the things that Fetterman is referencing here in talking about this being politically motivated. Well, it's Biden's DOJ. It's not Trump's who's doing this to Hunter. And they tried to get out of this, and the judge wasn't having it. So then they had to come through, and it was 3 weeks before the Hunter Biden trial. And they said, and that's when Biden decided to pardon him completely. Again, over the last 10 years, it's not just the gun stuff. This is a 10-year sweeping on everything. It's an all-encompassing pardon. Normally, you have to specifically say what you want to pardon someone for. But so Fetterman is really, listen, he's doing the whole both sides. It's whatever. But Hunter Biden's is clearly different than Trump's. Trump, they're just so obsessed with him. They hate him. Those were misdemeanor charges. Andrew Cuomo admitted the only reason Trump got charged was because his name was Donald Trump. And it's a liberal precinct. It's like 95% liberal. You're choosing a jury that's 95% liberal people there. Yeah, that's going to be very real. But Fetterman, you can at least, I will say, one of the things with conservatives, it's like there seems to be a lot of, and I understand like when liberals call things out as a conservative, people get excited. They're like, oh, they're seeing the light. But it's almost like you're kind of scrounging for breadcrumbs with these people.
Political opponents, and it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
They'll say
weaponized. That's a Biden DOJ going against Hunter.
That about the J6 people too, though, right? That's what they're going to say on the other side. That is weaponized.
I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial, and now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like now he's a convicted felon and those things, and now for our party we were talking about criminal justice, and we are now talking about second chances, and now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things, and now clear.
So let me explain what Fetterman is saying. Fetterman is saying that the liberals used the moral standing that they're pro the law and not putting their own above it, even though they have the executive power. And then once they're about to leave office, they do exactly what they said they wouldn't do. And they ran on, by the way, not doing it. And guys, I've said this before. The strategy was get Kamala in there, let Kamala pardon Hunter, so Joe doesn't do it, and it gives Democrats the moral superiority, and it's not Biden pardoning his own son. But once Biden lost, it's like, screw it, we have to do it. We know we're terrible people. We tried to manipulate the general public and straight up lied to their face, saying we had a moral high ground over Republicans. We knew we were lying, we're horrible, and a lot of them buy it, unfortunately, but that's what Fetterman is saying. Also got Joe Biden falling asleep here in Africa. They announced they were giving $1 billion to Africa. I think it was Angola is where they were. And here's Biden.
People, goods and services, but will also promote
I mean, do you blame him? I mean, but this is bad. This is bad. Oh, God. United States of America. just the little thing, the little nameplate, and then it's him just sleeping. He's got an earpiece in. Someone give him an alarm clock. Can we get it like the Apple alarm? What if someone just screamed it and he's like, oh, he's sleeping for like a minute here. Does he get up? Oh, he got up. He got up at the end of it. I was wondering if they were just gonna get. I mean, I didn't. I saw this happen a few days ago or whatever, but I didn't watch the video. That went on a little bit longer than I thought. I thought they imagine if it just ended with him still sleeping, and you just. It just would have been funny. PBS. Look at this. The amount of times they've called people or they've said extreme right in terms 162 versus extreme left 6 terms. Well, see, that's media propaganda and manipulation. There is no extreme left to them. They want the extreme left to become normalized. So why would you call something that you want to be normalized far left? It's very important. And you need to, the thing is now they're starting to call very just normal conservatives standard. They'll start calling them far right. And this is the movement that you see in PBS. And this is why you see PBS getting defunded here soon. We would hope. You've also got this. This is another moment from a liberal where it's like, here's the quote, they can investigate you into bankruptcy, torture you with FBI investigations. Do you not hear yourself? This is the second time this has happened with these CNN women within the past 3 days where you react to a clip and it's like, you're talking about Donald Trump and what he's gone through the past 4 years. You're explaining it. And now you're using it because it's happening against you. You don't like it. But over the past 4 years, it was all just, it was all fair. They didn't elevate charges. They didn't do anything. Let's see what this lady has to say.
The question is, would they accept a pardon? Because if you don't think you did anything wrong, which they didn't, they might want to not take a pardon. But I will say this, you're talking about an unprecedented crew of people coming in. Listen, even if they don't indict you, they could investigate you into bankruptcy, torture you with FBI investigations. Kash Patel is evidently going to be our next FBI director. Is that what you want to be dealing with for the rest of your life?
Trump during the time he was out of office.
President Trump got actually indicted by a grand jury.
They tried to bankrupt him.
Oh my God!
He got indicted. Hunter Biden pled guilty to $1.4 million in tax evasion, but it wasn't even the tax evasion that they wanted to pardon Hunter for, was it? Why'd they pardon him back in 2014? Why did they let's see.
His house.
Well, she looked like she didn't have an answer there, but that dude brought it up. The exact thing with Trump. But talk about the elevating of the charges in New York. And this is what they'll do. And this is what I predicted they were going to do to Elon Musk. They were already starting it. It seems like NATO now and those European countries were trying to band together in hopes that, remember, there were things that came out like the European countries wanted X to be regulated. And they said, no, we're not going to allow this. We're not going to allow free speech on this platform because it's so out of control. Right before the election happened, they started to talk. And then after the election, they all shut up and shriveled up because Daddy Trump is coming back in, and it's going to be really bad for those NATO countries. They're going to have to pay. But it's like it seems like the Europeans are trying to influence X and Elon Musk, and then their next play was to go after Elon Musk, which with all of this legal crap, it doesn't have to be true. You just mire him in it. You have your media apparatus. You have CNN, MSNBC, PBS, the reputable sources, CBS, 60 Minutes, whatever. They all start repeating the same thing about investigations with Musk and, one of his kids or something. You know how they'll dig stuff up. And I think that's to really hurt Musk's brand and potentially get Musk to give up X. It's not going to happen now with Trump coming in, but that's exactly what they do. They tried doing it to Trump. It failed, obviously, epically. I mean, Trump not only won it's pretty crazy when you consider the fact that they did tether those felony charges to him, although in legal terms at this point, he's not a convicted felon, but they tethered that term to him and it didn't matter. It made him stronger because people saw through it. And also there were some problems with liberals and who they ran and the whole thing with Biden being too old and Kamala Harris being extremely unlikable. That certainly helped Trump as well. Let's be honest, but still it's very impressive. Trump, the way he was able to run his campaign and win the election very easily. And now he's got a very nice approval rating for the first time, really, in his political career. This is the first time. I mean, I've seen Trump +1, +2 in terms of approval. I haven't seen one the past week, but, he's getting a decent period here where people are going to give him a real chance. And obviously with X, that's only going to help Trump in terms of the propaganda that's going to be able to come off of there, with Elon Musk being a part of the administration, at least to a certain degree with Vivek. You're going to be able to use that X as a pure propaganda platform to try and show people, give them transparency, which is really what the American people want. And it's something that was really lacking with the Democrats, especially when it comes to something like the Department of Government Efficiency, where you try and cut things out and you can tangibly show people, this is what we're spending money on. This is why we have such ridiculous debt. This is what we're going to cut out. And obviously everyone's not going to like it, but the general thought is that if you have more transparency, that's going to make you more likable. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.